And we begin the show with Friday's Sun, and forget the upcoming winter of discontent. It's more like the winter of disconnecting from the national grid. Lewis.
I mean, this story is unbelievable. It's like 1970s, and when I was growing up, we used to see images of the 1970s in Britain, and it just seemed like so much fun. The bleak football matches in the rain, and just everything was black and grey. It was like a mess, and that's what the Sun is saying. Is that
what is the story, though, Lewis?
The story is, I'll tell you what the story is that 40% of our fuel comes from France and Belgium and over there. And it may not come. And if it doesn't come, there's not going to be enough electricity.
So we're going to face blackouts, effectively, during the winter.
We're going to
because of this.
Because of this. And they say that the national grid is going to start paying people not to use electricity. I mean, they're not going to... If people aren't using electricity, it's not going to creating any revenue as it is. And then we're going to be giving them money, which is exactly what happened during the COVID lockdowns.
But they're also going to be asking people to use washing machines and that kind of thing during the night, so that there's less of an energy issue. But there's also... What about this, Josh? This idea that the national grid is going to have to effectively notify people in advance, and you might get a 3-hour blackout on your energy. I mean, originally the plan, I believe, was that was going to be restricted to businesses. Now it looks like that's going to be homes.
Yeah, that's what they said first. Now they're saying it could also be homes. They're going to be like chunks of the country they're basically going to give this warning to.
Yeah.
They're going to receive a text message the day ahead. But the problem is then that how are those people going to charge their phone to get the other text message? It's OK to now put their electricity on. Like, they haven't thought this through.
They haven't thought through at all.
Yeah. But I also like how yesterday there was like this, we covered a similar story with Liz Truss is like, it's not going to happen. And they're passing the buck. And now the national grid is basically saying, it's now pretty much going to happen.
So doesn't this suggest, Lewis, that really we've got to get our act together when it comes to domestic energy consumption? We can't be reliant on overseas, clearly. And we should have put measures in place decades ago, to avoid this kind of situation.
I think everybody knows that, and I think the leadership class of this country is completely deficient because they've run out of they knew they were running out of the North Sea oil, right? I think they've run out of it. They've stopped fracking. They're not going to make it up.
Well, didn't they have the opportunity to introduce nuclear power at some point? Wasn't there that viral video of Nick Clegg saying we're not going to introduce it because it would only come into force in 2022?
And David Cameron as well.
And here we are. And maybe you should have done that. Maybe people shouldn't be thinking so short-term and maybe thinking in the long term. Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a situation we find ourselves in. Also, just in a sort of short term, they've been talking about this in mainland Europe now for quite a few months. They've been covering about shortages. They've already been rationing through the summer for exactly this reason. So now that we get ourselves into October and now in the UK we're going, oh, yeah, maybe we should sort this out. It's like, why have we not been on top of this for a couple of months
Would this matter to you with 5 kids in the family? You know, if this goes out at breakfast...
Well, we all keep each other for warmth. We all just kind of like sardines in one bed. But interestingly, any blackouts would need approval from King Charles.
That's right. Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
I think he would just have to rubber stamp it. I don't think it's necessary.
But why does he need any... Oh, we've got to go and find King Charles. He's got to rubber stamp this. Why is he any involvement in...
I think the monarch always rubber stamps this kind of thing. I don't know.
Rubber stamps blackouts.
Yeah, but why is it pointed out this time? I don't remember it ever pointed out for anything that the Queen... It was never like, but the Queen has to rubber
Exactly. I think they're just pointing it out because he's the new king and they want to show that he's involved.
He's busy.
It won't matter to you, Lewis, these 3-hour blackouts. I mean, you just sit in the dark and rock anyway.
You know what? I live in a Southwark Council estate, so I'm used to this kind of thing.
Exactly. Not a problem.